It breaks my heart. I am so proud of the girls. There are a handful of girls now who are suing their state's attorney general and the high school sports governing body that has allowed this to happen because of their discriminatory policies that exclude women from the women's category. Cannot believe this is happening.
Yeah, I have never seen an organization more committed to self-imploding than the WNBA. A few weeks ago, I made this video highlighting how it appears Brittney Griner said bleep white girl after fouling out in a game against Indiana Fever, the team that Caitlin Clark plays for. Some people like Jamel Hill, former ESPN host, says that no, she didn't say bleep white girl. She says bleep whack call. To which she then went on to call me a grifter for even pointing this out, but besides the point. You can watch and make up your own mind as to what it appears.
Riley Gaines just shook up the entire WNBA world with a bold statement targeting Brittney Griner and the league's leadership. After Griner's controversial remarks about Caitlin Clark seemed to get brushed aside, the former Olympic swimmer said what many were already thinking. She didn't hold back, and now the league appears to be in damage control mode. Was Riley Gaines right to call out Griner and expose the WNBA's double standards? Or should she have stayed out of the basketball spotlight? It's becoming clear that no one is better at damaging the WNBA than the league itself. Just weeks ago, footage surfaced that many believe shows Brittney Griner making harsh comments about Caitlin Clark right after fouling out in a game against the Indiana Fever. While some tried to say she was reacting to the ref, her timing and body language seem to suggest otherwise.
Fox News. I ain't never seen this lady a day in my life. Why'd y'all hire this woman?
The USA basketball chair actually said it would be irresponsible to put Caitlin Clark on the U.S. women's Olympic basketball team, all while putting Brittney Griner on the team. I think with the extreme controversy that she brings.
Let me jump in, Riley, because you say it a lot there. I'm not sure what you mean by the controversy that Brittney Griner brings to the game. I mean, that's kind of not fair to say without explanation.
Well, I mean, I think given everything that happened overseas, given that she was put in jail, I mean, the controversy is certainly there, whether we want it there or not.
Not her fault and wrongly accused. Let's be fair. That's Riley. I like you a lot too. That's not right. She was wrongfully accused. That is not fair to bring that up. So we're gonna delete that. Okay, let's you and I continue.
She literally tried to tell Riley Gaines that Brittney Griner was unlawfully detained. What are you saying? Fox, get this lady off y'all show.
Riley Gaines wasn't about to let this one go. While mainstream sports media twisted itself into knots trying to spin the story, Gaines stepped forward with a reality check that has the entire WNBA on edge. What makes her voice so powerful in this moment is the moral weight she carries. This isn't someone speaking from the sidelines. She's lived it. Gaines was the swimmer who had to compete against biological males in women's events and had the courage to speak up when others stayed silent. She knows firsthand what it means to face backlash for speaking uncomfortable truths. And despite being vilified by mainstream media, she stayed firm in her defense of women's sports and the principle of fairness.
Thursday night, Indiana Fever and Atlanta Dream played. Indiana Fever is where Caitlin Clark plays. Atlanta Dream is where Brittney Griner plays. Now you tell me what it looks like Brittney Griner is saying here. For a little bit of context, this was in the fourth quarter after Brittney Griner fouled out against Caitlin Clark and Indiana Fever would go on to win by 5. Now I'm gonna tell you what I think she said. Let's play it back. Looks to me like she is saying trash and then calling Caitlin Clark a bleep white girl. Just a reminder, this is who Joe Biden traded for the Russian merchant of death. So many WNBA players hate Caitlin Clark so much when she is the best thing that could have happened to the league. And she's not the best thing that happened to the league because she's white, it's because she's a good player. It's because she's the best player. Now, imagine if Caitlin Clark said the inverse of this. It would be reprehensible, condemned, and understandably so. You've got all of these individual players. You have sports commentators, people like Ryan Clark, who constantly tout of the racial tensions that exist in the league, when in reality, they are the ones perpetuating and amplifying these racial tensions with their anti-white hatred for Caitlin Clark.
When Riley Gaines saw the WNBA shielding certain players while throwing others under the bus, she instantly recognized the pattern. Her response couldn't have come at a better time. Right after the league poured time and resources into investigating completely false claims against Caitlin Clark's fans, all while ignoring real controversies caught clearly on video. Gaines's reaction was razor sharp. She took to social media and dismantled Brittney Griner's behavior with precision, not just calling out the remarks, but reminding everyone of the deeper context that makes this even more outrageous. The U.S. government literally traded a notorious international arms dealer, Victor Bout, dubbed the Merchant of Death, to bring Griner back from Russia. And now, after benefiting from that level of national sacrifice, she turns around and takes shots at another American athlete. That's stunning. Gaines's hypothetical about reversing the roles hits hard. Imagine if Caitlin Clark had been caught on video saying something similar about Griner. The media would erupt. Sponsors would flee. The WNBA would likely issue a suspension without hesitation. But because it's Griner making the comments and Clark on the receiving end, suddenly everyone wants to act like we can't tell what was said. The double standard is glaring, and even casual fans are beginning to take notice. What makes Gaines's message even more impactful is how she links this single moment to the larger issues within the WNBA. She's not just taking aim at one player. She's exposing a league culture that protects certain narratives while ignoring fairness and accountability.
Not certain what Griner says. There is one way to find out. Ask Brittney Griner. However, no one has done that except for Outkick. It's been over 2 weeks since Griner said this. Instead, the WNBA was investigating a bogus race hoax made up by Angel Reese about Indiana Fever fans. And I say bogus because they found no evidence that supports Angel Reese's claims. So we at Outkick applied for media credentials to cover Brittney Griner's team, the Atlanta Dreams, game on June 6th. To which, shocker, they denied us. We've never had trouble getting media credentials with any professional sports league in the past, but wouldn't you know, now they suddenly have very limited space, which is total baloney. They just want to suppress any sort of uncomfortable inquiries from media. Regardless, we at Outkick are going to keep asking the tough questions, the questions that people want the answer to. And if you do call yourself a reporter or a journalist from an outlet like ESPN or any other sports outlet for that matter, and you have access to these settings and you're not asking those questions, you're really no reporter or journalist at all, at least not one with...
When the media outlet Outkick tried to secure credentials to directly ask Brittney Griner about her alleged comments, the WNBA flat out denied the request. That's when Riley Gaines went in even harder. She pointed out the glaring truth. No one in mainstream sports media even attempted to get answers from Griner except Outkick. Everyone else seemed content to speculate or sweep it under the rug. But the moment someone tried to actually uncover the truth, the league slammed the door, denying access to a legitimate media outlet simply for asking real questions is a major blow to the WNBA's credibility. This is supposed to be a professional league that thrives on media coverage and fan engagement, yet it's actively shutting out journalists who are doing their job. Gaines nailed the hypocrisy. This is the same league that launched full investigations into completely debunked claims about Caitlin Clark's fans. They made statements, opened inquiries, and played it up like a crisis. But now, with actual video evidence of a star player possibly making inflammatory comments toward their most high-profile rookie, the league has no interest in even asking questions. Speaking to Fox News, Gaines delivered a brutal takedown of the WNBA's approach, saying, "I've never seen an organization more committed to self-imploding than the WNBA." She then laid out exactly why the league's selective outrage and lack of accountability is doing real damage.
Good morning, Brittney. I'm Bill Roden from ESPN Landscape. It's really great to see you. It's good to know the prayers have been answered. The question, you've always represented so much throughout your entire career about access and, being able to do stuff. And I hate to put one more thing on your plate, but there are a number of states who are aggressively moving to prevent transgender athletes playing. And I was wondering, again, I hate to put one more thing on your plate, but in terms of on your radar, where is that? You're going to have a tremendous platform, but where is that going to be on your radar in terms of advocating for, athletes, all athletes, transgender athletes to be able to play?
Oh, I mean, that ranks high on the list of things that I'll be fighting for and speaking up against. Everyone deserves the right to play. Everyone deserves the right to come here, sit in these seats, and feel safe and not feel like there's a threat or they can't be who they are, or like it's just all eyes on them. So I think it's a crime, honestly, to separate someone for any reason. So I definitely will be speaking up against that legislation and those laws that are trying to be passed, for sure.
The timing of Riley Gaines's response couldn't have been more spot on. It came just as the WNBA had wrapped up wasting time and resources investigating completely false claims against Caitlin Clark's fans. So here we have a league that will jump into action over fake controversies, but won't even acknowledge real ones caught on video. And Gaines didn't stop there. She called out ESPN's Jay Hill for trying to run cover for Griner. Hill claimed Griner didn't say what many believe she did, offering an alternative version of events. But as Gaines pointed out, people can watch the footage themselves and decide. That's the right answer to this kind of media spin. Don't insult the audience's intelligence. Let them see it and judge for themselves. The fact that major media voices are trying to reinterpret clear audio and video evidence shows just how desperate they are to protect certain narratives. What makes this situation even more absurd is how easily it could be resolved. All the WNBA has to do is hold everyone to the same standard. If they're willing to investigate unverified claims against fans, they should also investigate credible, on-camera incidents involving players. If media outlets get access for one story, they should get it for all stories. Instead, the league has gone out of its way to display its double standards. And Riley Gaines just made sure the entire country saw it happen.
A lot of people are talking about the Olympics, but not for the right reasons. So let me shed some light into a story that not too many people are talking about. I'm sure a majority of you know who Riley Gaines is and who is Brittney Griner. So Riley Gaines laid into Brittney Griner for kneeling during the national anthem. You don't have to sing or anything, but you need to show some respect for the country that saved you from a Russian gulag. True. If y'all forgot, Brittney Griner was a 32-year-old that was arrested in Moscow on February 17, accused of entering Russia with a vape cartridge containing cannabis oil, which is illegal in Russia. She was sentenced to 9 years in Russian labor. Obviously, this was a whole political thing. This was immediately after Russia invaded Ukraine. However, America fought for her and got her back in a one-on-one exchange with another prisoner, but that prisoner is one of the biggest arms dealers ever, Victor Bout. So you bring something illegal to a country, that country arrests you, and then America does everything to try and get you back here just for you to kneel during the national anthem?
The broader context of this controversy makes Riley Gaines's involvement all the more powerful. Caitlin Clark is the best thing to happen to the WNBA in decades. She's brought in millions of new fans, packed arenas nationwide, and generated more positive attention for women's basketball than anyone before her. But instead of celebrating and protecting their breakout star, the league appears more focused on coddling players who resent her meteoric rise. They're quick to investigate baseless claims that could hurt Clark's image, yet turn a blind eye to actual controversies that reflect poorly on others. That's exactly what Gaines is calling out, an organization so backwards in its priorities that it's actively sabotaging itself. She sees the league choosing narrative protection over common sense, and she's not afraid to shine a light on it. Gaines also gets what the league seems to be missing. Fans will not stick around if they sense their favorite player is being unfairly treated by the very institution that should be supporting her. Riley's background gives her unique insight. She's lived through the fallout of speaking out against political correctness in sports, and she's been targeted for telling uncomfortable truths. So when she saw the WNBA repeat those same mistakes with Caitlin Clark, she recognized the pattern and called it out loud and clear. The league's response, especially its denial of media credentials to Outkick, is just more proof that they'd rather silence questions than face reality. It's a short-term strategy that's bound to fail, and Riley Gaines just sped that failure up. Her framing of the WNBA as an organization committed to self-imploding isn't just a punchline, it's an accurate diagnosis. With a generational talent like Caitlin Clark, the league had a golden opportunity. Instead, it's blowing it with blatant favoritism, media manipulation, and selective accountability. What makes Gaines's critique so effective is how she connects this incident to a larger pattern of systemic dysfunction. She's not a basketball insider with a personal agenda. She's a swimmer and fairness advocate who recognized a broken system and decided to speak up when no one else would. And honestly, thank goodness she did, because the mainstream sports media clearly wasn't going to do it. The video of Brittney Griner's comments speaks for itself, but the WNBA's response is what really exposes their priorities. Instead of addressing the situation transparently and moving forward, the league chose to protect a narrative that doesn't add up. Riley Gaines called out that failure of leadership, and now the entire sports world is watching. The WNBA can either apply consistent standards or double down on hypocrisy and prove Gaines right. Sadly, Their history suggests the latter, but thanks to Gaines, no one can pretend they don't see what's going on. What's most revealing here is how the league's priorities are completely backwards. Rather than riding the momentum Caitlin Clark has brought to women's basketball, they're bending over backwards to protect players who resent her success. Clark has already transformed the landscape of the sport, but instead of embracing that change, parts of the league seem threatened by it, and WNBA leadership seems more concerned with managing those resentments than supporting their biggest star. That's the kind of dysfunction Riley Gaines has always called out. Institutions losing sight of their mission to appease ideological agendas. In this case, the mission should be to grow women's basketball and support the athletes who elevate it. But when you ignore real controversies, deny media access to serious questions, and look the other way when your own players stir up trouble, you're failing that mission. Gaines has now forced the league to confront those contradictions. They can fix it, or they can keep heading toward collapse. Either way, the choice is now public. Riley Gaines ensured their double standards won't stay hidden. Her intervention was the reality check the WNBA needed, even if they won't admit it. And this isn't just about basketball. It's a case study in how organizations lose their way. The WNBA has a generational star in Caitlin Clark and a golden opportunity to grow the game, but they're throwing it away to protect ideological comfort zones. Riley's seen that pattern before in her own sport, and she's not staying silent now. Her courage and the undeniable truth in her words make her message impossible to ignore, and the WNBA's attempt to suppress legitimate questions about Griner only proves her point. When an organization hides from scrutiny, it's usually because it can't justify its actions. Gaines has forced them to face that truth, and their reaction has only confirmed her warning. The WNBA looks committed to self-implosion, and now, thanks to Riley Gaines, the whole world can see it in real time. So what's your take on this explosive situation? Let me know in the comments. Smash that like button and subscribe for more truth bombs.